everyone, it's Catchy, aka OBiGem. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, please do not forget to hit the subscribe button. Also, the notification bell to be notified of all future videos. And if you like what you see, please do hit the like button so I keep making content like this. So this is actually a celebratory video. If you are not new to the channel, then you might already know that we have achieved a major milestone. We hit 1,000 subscribers. It was actually a couple weeks back, or at this point it's been almost a month, so sorry about that. I've been super busy. This is my time of the year where I am very busy, and it's you guys probably already know because content's been not as frequent for that reason. We are celebrating 1,000 subscribers, and in honor of that milestone, I decided to do some base sim. So I made one base sim for every 100 subscribers that I've gained since I started this YouTube journey. So that is 10 sims in total. I did 5 female base sims and 5 male as a gift and a thank you to all of you who have, been on with me on this journey and have saw fit to hit that subscribe button to get us here. So thank you. These sims will be up on the gallery under my origin ID OBiGem, and they are, I believe, labeled 1K subscribers or 1K subs or something. Part 1 and part 2. Part 1's the females and part 2 is the males. But it was fun being able to kind of work with what the game gives you as far as sliders, and I think as I made them, I started making ones that I actually really like. So I'm actually super interested in seeing how you guys use these base sims to make your own cute simmies. If you are so inclined, do tag me in them. If you're on Twitter, go ahead and tag me if you use my sims, or however you want to use them. This is a gift to you, so thank you. And in commemoration of hitting 1,000 subscribers, I decided to do a 1,000 subscribers special, a Q&A. I asked y'all on my community tab and on Twitter if you have any questions relating to my YouTube journey and that whole process. Go ahead and ask as many questions as you want for me. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump right in here and answer some of the questions you guys asked me. And first up is Silly Simmers. I've been friends with him in the community for quite some time, since nearly the beginning of my journey, so happy that we are still friends. And he asked me a few questions. What's the main feature you would improve in The Sims 4? Honestly, if I could only have them fix one thing, the one thing I would love to see them fix is just the interpersonal relationships between the sims, how they develop those relationships, and how those relationships kind of express themselves in game. I know that sounds like very lofty. Doesn't really mean anything maybe to some of you, so let me just explain a bit more. I really kind of dislike how simplistic the relationship system is in game. It's very basic to the point where it almost just doesn't mean anything, and that's the reason why I've come to rely a lot on very specific mods for my storytelling and developing relationships in game, because without it, then I'm just the one that's kind of forcing these things all the time, and I don't actually like that. I would prefer for my sims to have preferences for who they would prefer to become friends with, who they would prefer to have romantic relationships with. So, even though I do kind of manipulate things in my more story guided Let's Plays, I personally, by and large, would prefer to have my sims go out into the world and gravitate towards certain sims for friendships and relationships. I wish that your sims had preferences for sims they would prefer to have within their company, and I wish that there was a mechanism in game where sims can like other sims more than those sims like them. And by that I mean like uneven relationships. I really hate the fact that when you have relationship games, whether they be platonic or romantic with another sim, that it's like an equivalent exchange. You gain the same amount of appreciation for one sim as that sim gains for you, and it just makes it a whole lot less interesting and realistic, because in real life you'll have friends who may like you more than they like then you like them, and vice versa. And sometimes you might crush on people or feel romantic feelings for people who won't give you the time of day. And just how interesting would that be if that could be if that can be expressed in the game? I would have so much fun if that was more a core part of the game. But alas, we await in vain for that and level of an improvement, I guess. But moving on, I have some questions from Nerdith on she sent these to me on Twitter, and Nerdith also has a YouTube channel. She and I have been friends since the very beginning of my YouTube content journey as well, so it is so good that we are still friends. Go ahead and head over to Nerdith or Tanya's channel, give her a sub. She makes some amazing Sims 2 content. She also occasionally does some Sims 4 stuff. The first question she asked me is, which world is your favorite to play in and why? So this one's super easy for me. I adore Samai Shuno, and I've played in that world the most over anywhere else. To me, Samai Shuno is the world that feels the most alive. There's like a whole lot you can do there, and it's just fun to play in apartments. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. I wish that you could build your own apartment buildings. I wish that we had more smaller apartment options, and I wish that the lot traits on the apartments weren't things that you couldn't change about them, because they're straight up some apartments in Samai Shuno I've never lived in because the lot traits suck. So I mean, all of those are down, like, not that great aspects of city living. But I love how alive it feels. You have neighbors that you can go over and visit them. They can come over and visit you. They have those festivals on the streets, like the Romance Festival, the Spice Festival, the flea market. It's a fun world to be in. It's the one place that I could live there over and over and over again and never really get bored of the world. And again, like I said, it's the world I played the most in. So definitely Samai Shuno is my favorite. So the next set of questions are from Samiba. She's another fellow content creator friend I've made on my journey on YouTube. She has a Not So Berry series on her channel, although she's taken a bit of a hiatus away. She is also in healthcare. She's a nurse, so give her lots of love and support because we appreciate the work that she's done during this global health crisis time. The first question she asked me is, what's your favorite aspect of your Not So Berry errors so far? I just enjoy how they're so different. I think, so far I'm 3 gens deep, so I've had 3 airs so far. There's Glade, Sienna, and Zary, and I feel like Glade was Glade was fun. Glade was fun. I like I liked how a little bit of a dork he was. He was fun. I liked Glade for those reasons. He wasn't the smoothest, but he had a big heart. He was a little bit of a dork, and I liked that about him. Sienna was, she was iconic. She was Miss Everything. She's the one. She's just it. She was just it. So I love her. I loved her confidence. I loved how she just would step into a room and own it. Like, she's not that girl who would ever doubt herself. She set goals for herself, she achieved them, and there was never a moment anywhere during that journey where she never thought that she would never make it. And that's just super admirable. I don't know, she's like who you would aspire to be. Just beautiful inside out, confidence, for days. That's her. And she's just iconic for that reason. She's definitely my favorite heir so far. Like, she'll be a hard one to beat as far as me keep going and having heirs that I really like. And Zary, he's our Yellow Gen heir. He's the newest one, so he's the one I spent the least amount of time with. But I like Zary. He's a little bit awkward, but he's like, I think, finding himself. He's discovering who he is. I know I've only posted 4 episodes of Not So Berry so far on the channel, or at least as far as like when I'm recording this. We're only 4 episodes deep. I don't know if by the time this Q&A goes live we'll be further in, but I've actually recorded further than that and it's been interesting because I think that Zary spent a lot of his early years just being really awkward and introverted and kind of just focused on the promise he made to his grandfather that he would achieve his dream to be an astronaut, and not really thinking about anything outside of that. And now that he's an adult and he's kind of like discovering himself and, you know, really seeing himself in the mirror and the man that he's become, he's really discovering his own personality, who he is. I think he's starting to kind of get a little bit more confidence and the things he wants to achieve. But he's still a little bit of a space nerd. You love to see it. He's cute. Okay, so my next set of questions are from Infinity Sims from Twitter. They asked, what advice would you give someone who is interested in creating content but struggles with consistency and anxiety? Okay, so this is perfect for me to answer because I am someone who is very, very anxious. I deal with anxiety on the daily. So, you know, it's a thing for me. So here's what I say to that. I think people who decide to make a YouTube channel, they start their journey thinking that, okay, I'm going to post a video every single day or every other day or, you know, 3 times a week, whatever the number is. 9 times out of 10, whatever number they think that they're going to start out posting every week is too high. Almost every single time, people want to post way too much. I had that problem. A lot of my other content creator friends had that problem too, where they thought from the very beginning that they had to just post too much. So my advice would be to be realistic with what your workload is and what it makes sense for you to post every week, especially if you deal with anxiety, because you're just going to be putting way too much pressure on yourself otherwise. So if you are someone who struggles with committing to things and staying with them, if you're someone who gets easily overwhelmed and anxious about things, then maybe it makes more sense for you to start with 1 video a week. Just one video a week, because then that gives you a whole lot of freedom and wiggle room to kind of see how things go from there. And maybe 1 a week is too much. Maybe given the amount of time you have in your day, 1 every 2 weeks makes more sense to you. Whatever the number is, like, really think about the base level of what you can commit to and start with that lowest thing on the bar. Because, like, the great thing about starting low is that you can always go up from there. So it's always good to kind of give yourself that allowance to start low, see how that works out, see how you can kind of get into a groove with that schedule of, okay, look, I'm committing to making this 1 video a week or this 1 video every 2 weeks. So once you get comfortable with that, then you can kind of take stock of it after you've done it that way for a while and see, okay, can I manage doing more? Maybe I can do, you know, 1 a week now if I'm doing it once every other week. Maybe I can manage doing 2 a week if I start out with 1 a week, you know, seeing it from that perspective. And honestly, the one thing with making content for YouTube is the longer you do it, the more comfortable you get with it. So if you are particularly anxious, like I am a particularly anxious being, then it's definitely important to stick with it and kind of grow with it as you're getting comfortable with it. And honestly, as you keep doing it, the stress levels, the anxiety levels, they'll start to level out a little bit. I don't get as nervous as I did the first year I was doing this. I don't get as nervous as I did within the first 6 months of me doing this. So you definitely get more comfortable, and that comfortability really comes from sticking to that schedule and just continuing to power through and, you know, continue with that momentum. So that is my answer for that. So unfortunately, I'm coming to the end of making these base sims for this 1,000 subscriber Q&A special, but I got so many amazing questions and I did end up answering every single one of them, and that audio is actually an hour long. So what we're going to end things here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a series of makeover videos with these base sims where we kind of give them a look, and in those videos that will be coming up on the channel, I'm just going to release them as I make them over. I'll answer the rest of them or include the audio from the rest of those questions I asked because they were all so good. Put a lot of thought into answering the questions, so hopefully you guys will look out for that and listen to that. But as always, you guys, go ahead and grab these base sims from my gallery. Again, my gallery ID is OBiGem sims. But as always, guys, stay safe, stay healthy, and of course stay dazzled. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Ooh, the way you say my name You just made me go insane. I know when I first met you, they got the best of me, but I won't let you. This time I won't let him too far. I don't tell him to stop.